Kong-Rey, a large and dangerous super typhoon near Taiwan. Although not quite at its best anymore, it is on a slight weakening trend. Kong-Rey is still a very powerful super typhoon with winds near 150 miles per hour. It's currently at 20.3 degrees north, 123.7 degrees east, and it's heading closer and closer to Taiwan and, of course, the Batanes Islands of the Philippines. Pressure estimate of 924 millibars, moving northwest at 11 miles per hour or 18 kilometers per hour as of 8 p.m. local time this October 30th. Well, it's a very large storm with concentric eyewalls and extremely powerful still as well, with a massive eye, and certainly promises to deliver very strong winds to a wide area, as well as possible storm surge and of course very heavy rainfall. Here's its current position displayed on the map with the wind fields up to 225 nautical miles of tropical storm force winds on that northwestern quadrant. Signal 4 warnings for the Batanes Islands, as it is 173 kilometers from Basco, 196 from Itbayat, 380 from Taitung in Taiwan, 437 from Kaohsiung and 572 from Taipei. Signal 3 warnings for the northern Babuyan Island and the northern tip of Cagayan, and a typhoon warning for all of Taiwan as well as Penghu County, that island to the west. Signal 2 warnings as well, extending through a large chunk of northern Luzon in the Philippines, and Signal 1 warnings further south. So damaging winds is the primary hazard, obviously, given the storm's current intensity. Dangerous winds are reaching the Batanes Islands this evening and are spreading through the northern Philippines and Taiwan. Landfall expected in the morning, maybe late morning or early afternoon possibly if it delays a little bit. And it is expected to be the strongest Taiwan storm this late in the year by some distance, actually. Storm surge and flooding rains also expected, with totals of over 500 millimeters on the mountains. So let's take a look at that forecast track. There it is. The wind field shrinks just a little bit, and then the storm moves through and weakens substantially, and then the sea surface temperatures just aren't warm enough now at this time of year, and the storm will die off by the weekend as it reaches Japan. It will turn frontal more than anything, but that still means that we could see some elevated rainfall all across Japan over the weekend into early next week and along that eastern coast of China. Well, there's the current estimates right now from all the authorities and estimate tools, and they're all in the Category 4 range. We're still towards the higher end of that. Of course, the storm did appear to reach a Category 5 peak earlier on in the day, this morning, local time, and now it has weakened a fair bit since that point when it had a massive red ring of cloud tops and some yellows as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here's the wind warnings in the Philippines, and you can see how it's looking there. Signal 1 extending all the way down towards the south, but Signal 4 warning in effect for the Batanes Islands. There are rumours about whether they'd go for Signal 5. Hasn't happened yet, although it must be awfully close. And in a minute we should be looking at the Taiwan warnings. There they are, all of those sea and land typhoon warnings covering the whole main island and some of the external islands as well, as you can see there, all of those areas under typhoon warnings. So let's take a look at modelling. There's the GFS with the storm pummeling Taiwan and then sweeping along the coast of China, and obviously this late in the year, any storm that really goes much further north dies off a very quick death as it moves continually towards a recurvature there, turning eastwards. Close up here on what happens in Taiwan, probably still a Category 3 landfall there. I do note that the GFS does call for rapid weakening before landfall, although more realistically it will probably still be stronger. The JTWC are calling for a Category 4 landfall with 130 mile per hour winds. It's close to call what intensity it's going to be, but we do have a decent idea of the timing, probably morning or lunchtime through the course of Thursday. And you saw there on the reflectivity, all of that rainfall sweeping across there too. Look again in a moment once we replay the loop. There it is, obviously extremely heavy rainfall for the eastern part of Taiwan. Then look towards the north there, a massive band, mostly over water, but some of it ending up sweeping through Japan there, all of southern Japan, and then off towards the east. An extratropical storm gets quite powerful out over the North Pacific there as well, loosely associated with Kong-Rey's remnants. And this is the total rainfall expectation over the next 7 days as this loop starts to load in. And you can see that we have some very high amounts expected for eastern Taiwan. Obviously those mountains that get hammered every year, it seems, getting a high amount of rainfall, getting up towards the 600 or 700 millimeter range for the northern mountains there, and maybe 500 millimeters further south. Out to sea it's a little bit lower, and along the eastern coast of China a few areas there as well, getting above 300 millimeters and 250 for parts of western Kyushu in Japan, obviously with the storm's remnants. So still very high amounts of rain there, because all of that energy has to go somewhere. Well, sea surface temperatures are still decent up until landfall, at least 27 degrees Celsius, probably higher than that. These numbers tend to read low, although after it reaches Taiwan along the coast of China into the Sea of China towards Japan, temperatures drop to around 23 degrees Celsius eventually, so it really will be quite cool before the storm, and it will not be able to sustain itself at all. Of course, Taiwan is probably going to do a number on its appearance too. Well, this is how the storm looked near its peak intensity earlier today, and you can see how amazing it actually looked. Some raw satellite estimates had up to 175 miles per hour, but its eye, of course, being so large as it is, would knock a little bit off that. So we went with a 160 mile per hour peak. Here it is right now. Look at those mesovortices swirling around. This is lovely imagery here, close up from Himawari 9, and this is a wider shot of what's been going on with the storm. So as I said, it has concentric eye walls right now, indicated from microwave imagery earlier on, and you can see evidence of that on this satellite imagery. The inner eye wall and the outer one not looking quite so good on that northwestern side now. There's a few dry slots opening up there, so the storm is definitely on a weakening trend, but it certainly has been very decent on its appearance. The eye temperature on satellite was up to around 22 degrees overnight, and now it is probably still pushing close to 20 degrees Celsius, but the main thing that's holding it back now is the eye wall or eye walls towards the northwestern side, which appear to be starting to weaken and maybe even break apart a little bit. But this storm is going to weaken relatively slowly. You can check all of this satellite imagery on our website, force13.com/satellite, and we have a live tracker active right now on our YouTube channel. You can search that up as well. That will be running all the way through this storm. Movement still towards the northwest there. It's pretty much on course for that landfall in southern, southeastern Taiwan, maybe just a little bit further north according to one or two of the models. Taitung will be one of those locations, really watching out for the potential landfall of this storm as it edges closer, expected to arrive Thursday morning.